was your? Where did you first start off, career-wise?
Career-wise, in terms of Los Angeles, or
right when you got out of high school.
When I got out of high school, I got very lucky because I had been awarded a theater scholarship to the University of Houston. Cecil Pickett and Sidney Berger, who were just two remarkable men, offered me a chance to come in and play and learn, and I did that when I was still thinking about acting. So I stayed in the theater department, and then when I decided, I really knew I don't think I wanted to be an actor, but I was still struggling if I wanted to write or direct, and so I left University of Houston and ended up going to Texas Tech before heading to Los Angeles. But yeah, it all started at University of Houston.
That's good. That's good. Cougar fan.
Cougar.
Another Cougar
I was
fan.
there. I was there during Phi Slamma Jamma, so I was literally
nice.
Like we were rocking the dorms, and the school spirit was just at an all-time crazy high. It was really
I think
great.
it's getting back up there again.
Yeah.
Football, Case Keenum.
But you know what? Always loving it. Always wanting to see the Cougs do well.
Nice. So when you went to LA, where did you first start off your career?
My first job was a tour guide at Universal Studios.
Oh, nice.
And I had just graduated and had gotten there, and I couldn't get another job, but there I was, like, you know, with a name tag and a tram, and all my friends from Texas were all like, "So what are you doing? What are you doing?" And I think I had to tell everyone I was doing public relations for Universal Studios. That's not good. Till a bunch of my friends from Texas showed up on my tram one day, and I'm like, "Oh, I should probably let you know I'm actually a tour guide."
I mean, hey, it worked out, right?
Hey, you know what? I would not change anything. People sometimes ask, well, if you would do it differently. I'm like, I don't. Whatever I did is what got me to here sitting with you today. I'll take that same route again every time.
How did so from touring? How did you become? Did you become PA at first, or
no? Actually, I went into the mailroom of a talent agency called Triad, which was subsequently absorbed by William Morris, which is now called WME. And I worked my way up to become to book stand-up comic acts, and I had done some stand-up throughout, including University of Houston in the dorm. I hosted a stand-up night there, and then that led to me. I wanted to be more learn the production side from a development standpoint. Ended up getting hired by Gene Wilder, who had a wonderful production company called Pell Mell Productions, and then I went over and worked with Bette Midler and did the same thing with her, and sort of worked my way. Eventually became a producer on Anaconda, and then by that time I was really starting to focus on directing specifically, and so it's been a nice route.
Oh, nice. How did you land the job for Race to Witch Mountain?
We were just finishing a movie called Game Plan for Disney, and also with Dwayne Johnson, and we were having a really good time. We were promoting that, and the executives at Disney asked me if I knew the old Escape to Witch Mountain movies, and I was like, I love them. They said, how would you feel about kind of a new chapter? And I had lunch maybe 2 days later with Dwayne, and I said, you know those Escape to Witch Mountain movies? He's like, yeah, I love them. So we started talking, and before we knew it, we were doing Race to Witch Mountain and having just a great time with it.
How was that whole experience getting from Race to Witch Mountain to you again?
It was actually probably the shortest experience I've ever had, because we were on the press tour for Race to Witch Mountain. We had just flown to Mexico City for opening weekend, and we were starting that leg of the press tour for international. And the Friday night that Race to Witch Mountain opened, we had opened in #1, so for that weekend we knew we were going to win the weekend, so we were pretty excited. I got to sleep in a little bit that day before starting the interviews, and I had a stack of scripts, maybe 20 scripts that I was going to pick and choose, like, you know, what to read for my next movie. And right before I got on the plane, the Disney exec slipped me you again and said, it's a small kind of ensemble comedy, maybe a chick flick. We don't know if you'll respond, but give it a read. And I read it and fell in love with it, and I called my producing partner, Betsy Sellinger, back in LA, and I said, I don't know if I'm crazy, but I think this thing is so fun. And then Monday, I talked to my agents. They all agreed. I continued with Disney to go to Europe on the press tour. We closed my deal when I was in London. When I landed, and I thought I was going to have plenty of time to go on vacation and relax, I landed the very next day. I was back at Disney starting the first production meeting for You Again. And I was quickly calling all my crew who were getting ready to take other jobs. I was like, no, don't, I need you all back. So we gathered everybody back, and so there wasn't no break between Race to Witch Mountain and You Again.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, the whole concept of You Again.
Yeah.
It's, do you have any experiences from high school?
I think everybody has. I don't think it's personal to me. I think the world is full of everybody who, if you ask them about their junior high school or high school experience, at some point there's a memory for all of us where we're like, that probably wasn't great. So I think that was what was so universally fun about this movie, was that everybody could relate to it. When I started meeting actors, and all this amazing cast with Jamie Lee Curtis and Sigourney Weaver and Christian Chenoweth with Victor Garber, Kristen Bell, Betty White, everybody sitting across from me in the interview, they were all telling me that they had a personal story. Sigourney Weaver's telling me she wouldn't even go to her high school reunion because the girl who had bullied her in high school was going to be there. I'm like, you're Sigourney Weaver, you're Ripley. You kill aliens. I'm pretty sure the girl who bullied you in high school is not fearful anymore of you. And she goes, no, that's true. I'm afraid of her.
That's, I think my experience was the same thing. I told you my name was V.
Yeah.
My real name is Vito, but in English it's pronounced Viral. So
I'm sure that you enjoyed that forever.
Yeah, I still got it in university, so I kind of just changed it to
very smart.
Right, and then
very smart.
B for Vendetta thing for a very long time,
which could have been kind of cool too for a little bit, right?
Right, just got to remember those V words, right?
Yeah.
So I guess working with Chris, you've been working with Kristen Bell for a very long time.
Yeah, I started working with her. I was doing Reefer Madness, which as a musical, which had been a hit for us in Los Angeles. We transferred it, moved it to New York, and I first met Kay Bell. She was a student at NYU, and I put her in the lead in that on stage. And then a few years later, we did it for Showtime as a movie, and we won an Emmy Award, and we were at Sundance and won the Deauville Film Festival. And so for a decade, she and I have done film and television and theater together, and we're always looking for something. And so when they handed me the script, they said, oh, by the way, it might be a great role for Kristen Bell. And I called her and said, and she had just read it, and so I think we were always looking to find something to do anyway. So this became the perfect thing to do.
For her, I guess she was kind of beat down in the whole movie. Ant bites.
Oh yeah, this was. I think she thought it was just my personal revenge against her. For a decade of abuse she's given me off camera. I'm like, today I'm going to pour something on you. Now I'm going to give you zits. Now I'm going to. So yeah, it was a lot of everything.
Nice. So what's next up besides?
Developing a couple of things. Developing at Fox a project with Billy Crystal called Us and Them, a big family comedy. Developing a R-rated relationship comedy with Anna Faris at Universal called TMI. And various projects at Disney. So once we finish with this, we'll start looking at what shape the rest of the scripts are in, and I'll finish that tour, and I'm sure before I know it, I will be sitting here a year later with you talking about how quickly that next thing happened as well.
I would hope the same. I guess rewinding a little bit, your very first movie, Who's Your Daddy?
Who's Your Daddy?
I saw a trailer of it this morning. I was like, wow.
It's a wild. We were, it was very much kind of at the height of American Pie, and it was an independent film, and the producers asked if I was interested in working on it, and I had a blast. I mean, it's very much a kind of R-rated teen comedy, but everybody in that movie, Christine Lakin, actually the female lead in that, is one of the co-stars in this, one of the pregnant cheerleaders in You Again. And she'd been Al on Step by Step all those years, and Brandon Davis and William Atherton and Bob Doherty and Kadeem Hardison and Patsy Kensit and Allie Landry and Lynch, and Wayne Newton. My first movie to direct, I got to direct Wayne Newton. And matter of fact, that was my first day of filming ever. So the very first person I got to yell action for was Wayne Newton. So there it was, me and Wayne Newton. I thought, it's pretty good.
It's a great experience, especially for the first time around.
First time around, and it plays on Showtime on a regular basis. Somebody will call me and say, I just saw Who's Your Daddy? So always nice.
I guess wrapping up, do you have any, words that can help out the students at the University of Houston kind of get their foot in the door, networking?
Yeah, I have to tell you, one of the reasons why U of H was so important to me to go is that it had such a fine tradition, from acting to, to writers to the arts, and they really encouraged us. They really the sky was the limit for what we could do, and whether we were doing stuff at U of H, or at the time I was the court jester for the Texas Renaissance Festival. So so during every fall I would leave to make sure I was down at the Renaissance Festival dancing around in my tights. Whether we were doing local commercials, whether we were auditioning for theater here, it really is, kind of the mentality. If you want to direct, find some theater here in Houston and direct. If you wanted to act, there's so many places where you get an opportunity to keep working on your craft. So,
right.
so and they really encourage that, and that would be the one thing I would encourage everybody is nothing stopping. And today, with YouTube and everything, you can take, you can take a flip phone and do an entire movie and put it on YouTube.
That's true.
And
true.
Audiences are audiences. Somebody will let you know whether or not it sucked or not.
Right.
So feedback is always a good thing. Learn from your feedback wherever you can.
That's exactly what we do here at the Student Video Network. We're actually the television station on campus.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's exactly what we promote. So that's great reinforcement.
And it really is. I wish we had that many tools when I was coming up, and we just didn't. And so now to see the opportunities, and on your computer, on a Mac, you can get enough editing software. You're editing pretty much the same sort of systems with a Final Cut or an Avid that they're, using at the big level. The cameras today have gotten smaller and better. So, with very little money, you can be using an HD camera and be in, broadcast quality. So it's really, the tools are much easier for people. Now you just got to step up your creative game and make sure you're telling the stories you want to tell.
And everyone's hearing about it too as well.
That is 100%.
Amazing. All right. Well, it was fantastic meeting with you.
So nice meeting with you. Enjoy a complimentary mint.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
How did you like your water?
I'm gonna sip it right now. Hold on. Ozarka?
Yeah, fantastic. Yes, I'm gonna go with that.
We don't have it in California, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Just tap water?
Just tap water. No, nobody would drink tap water now. A lot of Fiji and a lot of Arrowhead and a lot of anything.
Oh, Fiji.
Yeah. A lot of Evian. We have a lot of Evian. It's California, yeah. A lot of Perrier and Evian.
Fantastic. I'm a Fiji fan myself.
Oh, Fiji's good.
Thanks again, Mr.
Thank you.
Fickman. Appreciate everything.
Cool cows. Thank you. Tell everybody to go see the movie.